Tonight is an event where you'll hear from different women from all walks of life who will share their stories of why they vote. First, before we get started, I would like to recognize our sponsors for tonight's event. YWCA of Harrisburg, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Coalition of Labor Union, Dauphin County Democratic Committee, Harrisburg Area Now, League of Women Voters of the Harrisburg Area, Pennsylvania Council of Churches Advocacy, Planned Parenthood Keystone, last but not least, Women of Color Network. We'd like to give a special moving right to our next speaker. I'm going to read her personal declaration. We are living in difficult times for our nation and for the world. It is critical that we energize women to get to the polls and elect candidates who are competent, dedicated, and eager to serve. Women must make our voices heard at the ballot box now more than ever. If we care about our families and our communities, we must exercise our right to speak out, and most of all, to vote. Please welcome Joyce Davis.
Thank you very much, Portia, and good evening to everyone. Good evening. I am passionate about voting, and for me it is personal. If you had been born where I was born, and when I was born, you'd be passionate, and it would be personal to you as well. Take a walk with me back to a day when people who looked like me weren't allowed to enter the voting booth. Come with me to the place of my birth, to the deep South, to New Orleans, Louisiana. To the good old days, some would like to bring back, when there were whites-only water fountains, colors-only restrooms, and seating at the back of the bus. I remember witnessing the humiliation of my grandmother, what she felt coming home so many times, having failed to pass the infamous literacy test, a test designed to keep women like my grandmother out of the voting booth. You should know, Granny was a remarkable woman. She owned 2 houses, played the piano and the organ, managed the duties of being a pastor's wife as well as superintendent of the First Shiloh Baptist Church Sunday School. After my grandfather died suddenly, leaving her with 2 small girls, she managed to raise them alone and even put my mother through college, all on the salary of an uptown maid. But this accomplished, independent, capable woman was not deemed worthy enough to walk through the front doors of a polling place and vote. I remember her humiliation time after time when she was told she didn't pass the literacy test and couldn't register to vote. No matter how hard she studied or how much she prepared, there was always a question she didn't expect. At one point, she came home in tears, unable to answer the pop question of how many camels could fit on the head of a pig. As a young girl, the image of my grandmother in tears, because she couldn't pass the literacy test, seared in my memory. It became the motivation for my heading to the polls. Rain, sleet, snow, or blazing hot sun, I was going to vote. My excitement each time I walked into the polling place, sign my name, then close the curtains to pull those levers, all of that is really not about me. Every time I cast my vote, I cast it for Granny. I cast it really for all of our mothers and granddaughters who for decades were denied the right to speak their minds and vote their consciences. Most of all, I cast it for my son and for all of our children, in the hope that they will never live in a nation that denies them a voice, that conspires to take away their freedom, that treats them as second-class citizens. The 1965 Voting Rights Act gave my grandmother the right to walk into the voting booth, head held high, and make her voice heard. 50 years later, Because she voted, her granddaughter was able to walk into a voting booth, head held high, and cast a vote for her black son, who had the courage at the age of 21 to step out to serve in public office. You see, courage runs in our family, and we consider it a form of cowardice and betrayal not to vote. Too many women suffered. Too many women cried, and too many people died to make sure we had this right. Women, let's not take voting for granted. Let's show courage. Let's have some passion. Let's make sure we vote every election, and we must instill in our children their responsibility of citizenship. What's more, let's make sure we not only vote, but we use our vote to support capable, competent women on the ballot. I don't want to see our nation return to the days of my childhood. But let's not be fooled. If we don't vote, if we don't hold public office, the good old days of the past could well become our tomorrow.